Okay, so we'll do some painting now, and we'll paint the tank. They call it a tank guard. It's what holds the tank in, and it's been previously sandblasted. It's had 2 or 3 coats of Corollas S. I say 2 or 3 because I do all the edges really heavily around all the nuts and bolts, and then give the rest of it 2 coats. So certain areas of it's had 3 coats, most of it's had 2. So that's been on there now for 36 hours, so that's nice and dry. I've just gone over very lightly with some 800 grit and just keyed it and taken the dust out. But invariably you do get marks left in it because obviously you've got rust underneath the Corollas, rust pitting from the sandblasting, and it sort of shows up in the gloss. So what I tend to do is put on a couple of coats of Corollas S, denib it, spray it with a good heavy coat of what we're going to do now, and then give that 24 hours, and then rub that back and get it sort of smoothed out and any imperfections smoothed out, and then paint it over. Yes, it's lots of fuss. Yes, it's probably over the top, and yes, it's probably over the top for a Land Rover, but it's the way I like to do things. I like to do things as well as I can. Obviously, I'm not going for an absolutely perfect finish with no, with no orange peel or anything on a slightest mark. I'm not going to make a big fuss if there's a pinprick in it or something, but I do want a good thick gloss coat on there, because basically, as we all know, if it's a gloss, it will, moisture will run away from it anyway. So whereas if it's a matte, it seems to be porous. I think you know what I mean. So this is what I'm using. This is the Corollas. Once again, I'm showing you the glass reinforced top coat in the black in gloss, and this is the RF16. This is only available in a gloss. I had a bit of confusion with Arkwright because I was ordering Corollas RF16 in a semi-gloss, and it doesn't exist. So I've got more of this than I originally intended to have. If you want a semi-gloss paint, you either go for the QDR, which is what I used on the chassis, or they do a direct to metal paint, which I've got and I haven't tried yet. I may try that on my new, you can see over here, just there, you can see there's my new gate posts that I'm making, and I've also got hanging up here the bump stops. You can see there's one there, there's one, where are we going, there, and they've just had a coat of the RF16. So we'll paint the tank guard now. Well, to be honest, I've actually just done it. I'm filming this after the event, so come along, I'll probably speed it up and you can watch me do some spraying. I'm basically using this little gun here, which is I think it's a 1.5 needle. It's very small. It has no fan, it just has a round cone pattern. It's very much like using an aerosol can. The problem is with an aerosol can, you can never get enough on. If you are out there and you are doing small restoration work and stuff, get yourself a little compressor, get a little cheap gun like this. You're going to get far more paint on. You're going to save yourself a fortune. I mean, a tin of this, I think a tin like this, a 1 litre tin, costs about the same as a 400 milliliter aerosol can. And I mean, when they say 400 mil in an aerosol can, I mean, this is 1 litre. If you add 10% thinners, that's 1.1 litres. I'll bet you wouldn't get the same coverage out of 20 aerosol cans as you get with this. So that's my experience. I'm 57 years old, I've been doing this a long, long time. So, I mean, even this little tin here, this is a, I can't remember what size it was now. Is it I think it's half a litre. And that has done, there's still some left in there, and that has basically done the cross member, all of the gear, all of the brackets. It's done all the brackets on the gearbox, all the brackets on the transfer box. Most of the brackets of the body have had a coat. There's only a few bits and pieces left to do. So, a litre like this I think would be enough to do all of your brackets and everything. I've got to do the axles yet as well, so at the end of it I'll tell you how much I've used and everything, and then you'll know what you should be looking at. But as I say, if you're using aerosol cans, guys, get yourself a little cheap compressor. It doesn't have to have a massive CFM or a massive horsepower. A little gun like this, you're not going to try and spray cars and stuff. You're spraying brackets and axles, and honestly, you'd never get the paint laying on like you're going to see in the video in a minute. You'd never get the paint lay down out of an aerosol can like you will with this. And this is a cheap gun, and I have got it really, really backed off. There's hardly any paint coming out at all, but you look at how it goes down and how it straight away levels and builds. You just can't get that with an aerosol can. So anyway, I've done enough waffling. let's go over and do a bit of spraying. There's the kind of results we can get, and as you can see, you know, this is just the first coat, and as I say, you get these areas like here. You can see here there's some like sort of reactions or whatever going on, or bits of dust or whatever. And also, if you put the Carless on heavy, you may get some little bubbles in the surface. But basically, that's what you're looking for. You just want a good coat of paint on there, and then you can polish it back and make it look pretty after. So there we are. And there's Mr. Mustang and Mr. Jess, or Mrs. Jess, should I say? Jess, what's you doing? What you got? So there we are. Just as a side note, guys, still got this one. It's bloody awesome. Love it a bit. So I haven't seen another on the road yet, but yeah, really loving it a bit. It's parked in the garden, as you can see, and yeah, it's a lovely thing. It's like a bloody luxury car inside. So yeah, that's my Ranger Raptor. So here we are back in the garage with the chassis, and as you can see, I have started putting stuff together. I've fitted the rear shock mounts. Pretty pissed off really. I've looked at the manual, and the torque for these is 44 Newton meters, and they have really crushed the chassis. And when I took them out again and looked, and the actual, rather than having a tube, there's like a frame welded around it, and it's about this bloody wide. So of course the chassis just collapses in between. I may cut them out and put some tubes in, because I just not happy with the way that is at all. But anyway, the bolts here, and they're all in there. It's been outside in the rain and all the bad weather we've been having, and I'm happy to say there's no real serious areas where there's rust. We've got some dirt and stuff on it. There's one little area I noticed here, if we can focus on that, where there's a little bit of staining, so I'll probably just brush some paint into that. It's going to be getting wax on anyway, so we're not really too bothered. But overall, it's all looking quite good. You can see I've got these brackets in here. These brackets here, they hold the threaded inserts for the brackets for the bulkhead, and I've also got some clips in there for the breather hoses and stuff. I've got some over here. Got those on eBay. So yeah, it's all looking good. Over here on the bench, we've got some bracketry that I've painted and stuff. You can see on here, it was all lovely and shiny, and then we had a freak gust of wind, and it blew a load of dust up in the garage. So I may rub these down and do them again, or just leave them as they are, because they are, after all, brackets and they're never going to be seen. And then over here, if you remember, I showed you this is the tank guard that goes underneath, and you can see that it's you can see me there. Hello. Ooh. You can see it's quite shiny, and I'm quite pleased with how that's come out. So, you know, if you take your time and do your preparation, you can see that with RF16 you can get a really, really good finish, and that's not wet, that is dry. So yeah, really pleased with that. So you can see my ugly bald head in it. Here we are. Woo. Hello. So all in all, I'm quite happy with the moment, the way things are going. So these brackets and bits and pieces, that needs to be tightened up. I just want to get some copper grease on the threads on these and then bolt them in. Once I've got sort of all the bracketry and stuff bolted to the chassis to plug up as many holes as I can, then I'm going to wax oil it. And then what will happen then is the wax will get into the back of the threads and help sort of keep them sealed in. I may do these tubes in the meantime, I don't know, we'll have a think about that. But I'm really not happy. I don't know if you can see it, but you know, that is completely crushed in there. There's hardly any, you know, it's actually touching the chassis here. It's crap. So I don't remember them being like that on the older chassis. So yeah, not happy with that at all. You've still got these brackets on down here as well, these towing eyes. I need to get myself some of the sponges, the sponge pads that go in here in the chassis for the fuel tank. See, I've got the fuel tank over here, needs a good clean up, and I need to get a new breather hose because it's got the typical TDCI cracked breather hose problem. But yeah, I'll give that give that a pressure wash and go from there. So anyway, I think we'll call that a day for this video, because it's kind of, I haven't put one out for ages and it's all kind of a bit slow. So you see Mustang there on the driveway. And yeah, so the next video I think you'll see from me is going to be the wax oiling. I've got 5 litres of wax oil on the way. So well, I've got the kit up there, it's up there in the corner of the garage, you can see it. Where's my hand? There we are, there it is there, there's that pressurised container thing, and that's great for spraying it in all the box sections. And if you haven't watched my videos before, you'll know I bought this Land Rover brand new, took a lot of it apart, wax oiled the chassis on day one on the inside, and the inside is spotless. The only reason I'm doing all this work is because every single weld, if you look back into the videos, you'll see every single weld all the way along here, all the way around here, all the way around here. Everywhere there's a weld or weld spatter or there's rust, and this back end was a mess. So yeah, happy with how it's coming out. I'll see you all soon. Bye for now, guys. Thanks for watching.